Today we will be going over how to uncoil and recoil your planner. It's actually quite a quick process. You just need the proper tools. And here today we have needle nose pliers, a cloth, 2 corks, or you could use anything that a toothpick would stick into, and some toothpicks. And how we begin is we would just take off the removable covers. And then what you have is everything that's attached to that coil. You don't want to damage your cover in the process of doing this. So the first place that you're going to look is at the top and at the bottom where you have essentially a bent over coil to keep your binder in place. You'll take your cloth, you'll place it over your needle nose pliers like so, and then you will take and just bend that out. You want to try and make it as straight as possible, but also curvy. And the reason I say that is you want it to be able to go in and out of your planner, because you're going to be uncoiling it, as easy as possible. And you may have to use it a little bit without the cloth to get some of it straightened out. And then you'll do it to the other side. Here, and now you can begin the process. So what I do, I have uncoiled this planner before, is you just start to spin. And as you spin, I'll put that towards the back, it will start to come out the bottom side or top side, depending on which way you go, pretty easily. And you'll keep spinning. You'll keep trying to use your hands to keep the planner in place. And when I'm about this far, what I like to do is take a toothpick, make sure that this is all still lined up, and just put it through. This way, this is a very easy, fast process. And just stab it into that cork, and then now I can just continue to keep spinning. It's just going to help me keep the coils aligned and do less damage to the punched holes while I'm pulling the coil through. And you can just place occasionally a toothpick and it can come out and it will move around, and none of that's an issue. You just want to make sure that you've got it pretty well aligned. And now what I'm going to be doing today is I'm actually going to be taking out some pages rather than putting pages in, but the same principle works either way. And once you kind of get going on it, you can use the coil itself to help you uncoil. So, and I'll use the cork to put one here. That just kind of keeps it up, so when I'm recoiling it, it's not too hard. So now the pages that I actually want to take out are in the back. So I am going to just take these out. I'm going to leave these stuck into those just so I can get back to them later. I'm going to go into the back here. I'm going to take this off. This page gets to stay. This page gets to stay. But I'm going to take out all of these note pages that I put in. And the reason I'm doing this is I've actually transitioned into a plum planner, but I would like to take some of these note pages with me. Okay, so I had made dividers, and these dividers, as well as all of the note pages, is what is coming out. So I'll go ahead and lay those to the side. It would be the same thing if you were putting them in. you would have to make sure they were pre-punched, and then you would just go ahead and line everything back up. The first thing I'm going to do is make sure I can, but get this top one in, and then work on getting the bottom one in. Because after you get these fed through, it should line up pretty well for you to put any other toothpicks that you want to in to keep your alignment. And again, I only do this because it does help it go just a little bit faster. So then here's your coil, and you're going to start where you left off on that same top piece. I'm going to remove this. I'm going to hold it with my fingers really tightly and make sure I get it in. And then you just keep coiling. I did have a little technical difficulty there for a moment. And you just keep going around and around. This is where it is important to have where you unbent the coil pretty straight so that it is just kind of going right back through without ripping up any of your pages on the way. And when you get to a toothpick, you merely pull it out and continue. When I'm getting towards the end here, I'll just pinch it with my hand to make sure it's lining up correctly. And keep going. Okay, so once you've gotten it back on the coil like so, and these were a little ripped up before, looks like my coiling missed a couple of them, so you just want to make sure that you don't do that. I have seen people put protective tape here and then repunch this page for this reason, or if you have an Erin Condren or plum planner, I would keep your cover on as long as it doesn't have the removable punches. So then, once you've gotten to this point, to keep it in, you just simply have to bend back your coil on both sides, top and bottom, to the point where it's not going to just fall off for you. And then you also want to kind of bend it in if it's poking out at all, so it's not scratching you or any of your paper. And so once you have that, this is a plum planner cover, but it's the same concept as the Erin Condren. You would just go and simply put your cover back on the front and the back. And then just do that back on the back. And now you have a uncoiled and recoil planner. And as you can see in here, there are no damage to those pages. You were able to coil that back up, and now you have a skinnier planner, which is helpful to put in your purse or whatever you're doing. Or if you're adding pages, you would probably use the same coil. If you were able to find a larger coil, you could even recoil it in a larger coil yourself using that same technique.